Roads for 2022 New Roads Mardi Gras celebration. I'm Louis Hebert,
And I'm Cassandra Will.
and we have been masked and quarantined and no parades for the last 2 years. And here we are with the unmasking of new Mardi Gras royalty here in New Roads with the 100th anniversary rolling of the Community Center Pointe Parade.
Yes. And so we promised that it's a huge parade this year. People are so excited. And our theme this year is a centennial of celebrating 1922 to 2022. So you will see a lot of Mardi Gras tributes to our founder, Jimmy Boudreaux, in today's parade.
That's right. And of course, we've got a lot of entries in the parade today and some special guests, and including our Grand Marshal.
Who's just passing us now, and we had the Park Forest ROTC, and there's our Grand Marshal for this year, Channel 9 WAFB, Greg Merriweather, that you can see 3 times a day on Channel 9, and he's out with his cute little son today, Jack, and they're having a good time riding in the carriage.
That's right. Well, for 30 years, we've been right here in downtown New Roads bringing this telecast to you. And this is my 30th year doing it. And I'm going to kind of hand it off to my good friend Clarence Budd to commentate with you, Cassandra.
Okay.
And of course, Clarence is no stranger to New Roads and Pointe Coupee. And so he'll be doing the play-by-play, and I'm going to enjoy the parade, and I'm going to catch some bees.
All right, well, you can catch enough of me, Louis. All right, so we are celebrating our 100th year this year, and we crowned our queen on Saturday at our annual Mardi Gras ball. And our queen this year is Queen Paris Rodney. She's the daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Raymond Rodney. And our king this year is King Cleotha Jonathan Jr. And so many of you should know him. He has worked with football teams, and he's the principal of Livonia High School. So we are so proud of our king and queen this year. And their attendants are Bria Jones, Ayanna Lafayette, Tamara Ransom, Tori Saison, Jamaria Washington, and Dr. Caitlin Wren. So we congratulate all of them, and they're enjoying their reign this year. And so our king and his crew just passed us.
Can I slide on in here with you?
Yes, you may.
I mean, I have to understand. I don't know anywhere near as much as the lady that knows everybody, everything, all the guys. It is truly a pleasure to have you come and spend some time with us today, Cassandra, and a wonderful, gorgeous day for Mardi Gras.
It is a gorgeous day. The Lord gave us the best weather. We have been waiting for this for 2 years, and so we are truly excited. And so we have our past 2020 King and Queen, Mr. Wilbur Joseph and his queen, Jordan Spurlock, who are supposed to be in our parade today. And I mean, people are so excited because, we've been on lockdown for close to
That's
2
right.
years.
That's right.
As Louis said earlier, we've been masked up, in more ways than one. Well, hopefully today we'll see more Mardi Gras masks than face masks, since hopefully our numbers are going down. But we are really enjoying ourselves today.
At the end of the day, Cassandra, Mardi Gras is about more for us native South Louisianians than just a parade. It's almost a spiritual thing for many of us. We get to fellowship with neighbors, with friends, with loved ones, people that have moved away for jobs and school. So for us natives here in South Louisiana, it's about the fellowship more than it is the floats and the beads.
Yes, because, we pride ourselves to be a family-friendly environment.
Amen.
And so people who have moved away, they come down for our New Roads Mardi Gras to celebrate with their family and friends. And you can see barbecue pits and people boiling crawfish and jambalaya pots and things on the parade routes, coolers with sandwiches and other food. So, people are having a great time today. And we're so happy that, we have all these children who have gathered, because they really look forward to this.
And, you speak of the kids. This is one of those opportunities where families have the ability to make memories that kids will cherish for the rest of their lives.
Yes, they will. And so, we are really, really happy to be celebrating our Mardi Gras. And we see we have some vintage cars that are moving past us. And people love the vintage cars. These gentlemen restore these cars, and they're really excited. And there's we
Shania
have Miss
Williams.
Livonia High School, who will be riding today. And on Saturday, we had two Centennial citizens that we celebrated. And so this is the band everybody's been waiting to see and hear, the Human Jukebox. Southern University's band, Human Jukebox band from Jaguar Lane.
As the saying goes, often imitated but never duplicated.
Exactly, 360 steps a minute. So we're going to take some time to listen and watch.
Absolutely nothing gets the blood flowing like the Southern University Human Jukebox.
Exactly. The best band in the land. That's my favorite band of any band that has ever existed. When I was a student at Southern, we used to go watch them practice.
Yeah, I grew up within a stone's throw of Mumford Stadium, and as a kid, grew up selling popcorn and peanuts and programs at Jaguar football games, and said one day I'm going to be a part of that. And that was in my early life. The crowning achievement was when I made the 1975 edition, and yes, I'm old, I don't mind saying so, of the Human Jukebox, something I will cherish for the rest of my life.
Well, that's just wonderful. And so, we have a lot of things, and this is Nouveau U2. And, we have many, many sponsors that we're looking at today. But on Saturday at our ball, we honored two Centennial citizens. Two. Captain Leon Dixon Sr., he's 103 years old, and he served in World War II for 3 years. He's the father of 9. He was married to the former Sidonia Richard, and his wife and oldest son, Bertel, have passed. And we also honored Mrs. Amanda Victoran, and her family describes her as a very feisty lady. She turned 103 back in
Bless
December.
her heart.
Yes, and so she loves shopping, and her daughter received her plaque for her on Saturday at our ball because they were not able to be there.
Right.
So we are remembering these Centennial honorees today who were here when the first parade rolled in 1922. They were toddlers and babies. And then Mr. Dixon is gonna be riding in front of his family float called Crew of Dixon 2, which is commemorating World War II. This is Deja Vu, Sons, Lawn and Maintenance.
If you all see us turning our heads on occasion, I've already resigned myself to that. I'll probably be hitting the back of the head with beads for the next 4 or 5 hours or so. But it's all in good fun and all in family-friendly fun on top of that.
Yeah, because Louis and I usually get drowned with beads when they see who we are. And so you're going to see on many of the floats today, you're going to see pictures of Mr. Jimmy Boudreaux of what he looked like when he was dancing in the parade in the 30s and 40s. And this is the Jimmy Boudreaux float. This is the Boudreaux family. And so they are commemorating the grandfather and some others. As you can see, that's the crew of Boudreaux. And they are celebrating our great-grandfather who started this Mardi Gras in 1922. And we're continuing his legacy.
And that just kind of feeds right into the whole family-friendly atmosphere and theme. And it goes to show that this is not just something made up. There's family deeply rooted in this celebration all the way through the 100-year history of this parade.
Yes, because when he started in 1922, he had a mule-drawn float and a single band. So
Wow.
the first parade was a two-piece parade, and today we have approximately 80 units that are participating.
And another float celebrating 100 years
Another
of Jimmy
year.
Boudreaux.
Yeah, there are going to be many people that are celebrating, and those. So this is still crew of Boudreaux, because the Boudreaux family has got a huge legacy. So they got two of them, and Mr. Lionel Boudreaux, one of his grandsons, he has brought his trucking LLC trucking company that's part of the parade too, because after all, Mr. Jimmy Boudreaux did use a lot of trucks in his initial parade.
Do you think when they first had this idea and launched the very first one, that they had any idea that 100 years later it would still be not just going, but going as strong as it is today?
Well, probably they didn't anticipate, what would happen, because we know that after he passed on, some other people took over the reins, and then eventually it became a Mardi Gras organization. But his vision has gradually increased and to where we are now. So this is crew of Lewis, and crew of Lewis.
Well, there's one back of the head.
Crew of Lewis is Gerard Lewis, who was our 1982 king, and he has one of the grandsons of Jimmy Boudreaux and his wife on the float, Lloyd Meyer, and his lovely wife, Mary Ann George Meyer. And so the crew of Lewis family has been riding in our parade for probably more than 20 plus years in many different capacities. There's Harvey's Lawn and Service. The crew of SMD. They've been rolling since the early 2000s, and then they're here.
Now,
There's nothing.
I'll have to wait until we're back on camera to show this. Normally,
Camogo LLC, which is Beyond Measure, the Healthcare LLC out of Baton Rouge.
and it's a wide variety of businesses that are represented. It speaks well about the business community and what they feel about this city and this particular parade.
Yes. People like to come to New Roads because it's a smaller town and very family friendly, so that the children can really enjoy themselves. And so this is the We Keep Rolling float. We keep rolling. And we can plan things. We were planning our Mardi Gras since 2020, but after COVID hit, a lot of things got put on hold, and then, we had to wait and see where we were able to roll. And so we see Super One with the giant shopping cart. They should have had some groceries in there for us.
Aren't you glad?
That you don't have to push one of those every time you go to buy groceries, Cassandra.
Yeah, that's true. That is so true, Clarence. Yeah. And so, people are really, really, really excited about all this. So, we've done our lineup, but, sometimes when you get to the lineup, things arrive late or something broke.
Of course.
And so sometimes things get out of whack. So we're doing the best we can, people, to report our parade as we're having it. And there's a tribute to Mr. Shaft Fields, and this is a float this is the class of Rosenwald class of 1980. And so one of my brothers graduated in that class, and so they're paying tribute to some of the former Miss Rosenwalds who used to serve as the Carnival Club Queen until the early 80s. And so that's what they're doing, and showing some of their classmates and paying tribute to Mr. Shad Fields, who was one of the people that was instrumental in keeping Mr. Boudreaux's dream going by dancing in the street on Mardi Gras. He would dance in front of the clown truck, and every year he would have him a different costume and be tapping in the streets.
Do you think the average person, Cassandra, truly understands what is involved in an event of this magnitude?
No, I don't think people do, because, you know, it takes a lot of work to get this done. You know, like we have these dance groups that are relatively new, and you have to, you know, it's months of practice with that. This is the crew of All in the Family. Their tribute is Soul Train, who many of us grew up watching Soul Train.
Amen.
And so there we see the afros and the puffs and everything. And but people don't sometimes see the amount of work that's involved, because a lot of times, you know, people see the finished product, but you don't see what it took to get to that point. You know, being from the Jimmy Boudreaux line, my family has been involved in Mardi Gras throughout my whole life, because my dad was a principal, and so he made sure that he had floats and dance units or whatever, baton twirlers or whatever that would be in the parade. This looks like McKinley High School.
Actually, this is a band from...
Which band are we looking at?
I want to say I saw the banner set from Tallulah, Louisiana.
Oh, that's probably Madison Prep. Madison Prep, because their colors are very close to Southern University's colors.
And very close to McKinley as well.
Yes, close to McKinley. Yeah, because that's one of the bands we're going to see today. And so these are like junior Southern University members. They're Jaguars also.
So for those that don't know, young people that want to get involved, what's involved with being a member of the crew?
Being a member, we attend meetings. We start talking about what we need to plan for the next year, what we need to fix, who needs to work on the ball, who needs to work with the Royal Court and the King, you know, getting our costumes together, getting our entries together. You know, we're not a large group. There are under 20 of us. You know, it's not even 20 of us. And so it takes a lot of work. And then we do ask other people from the community to assist us in helping us line up and secure entries. And so this year we had a few new members that came in that really helped us get a lot going this year. I mean, people are truly, truly excited.
And again, to reinforce family friendly.
Family friendly.
The family first float.
Yes, family first float.
All right, we are going to take just a quick break, and we will return with more of Pelican Broadcasting's annual presentation of Mardi Gras from the City of New Roads, this obviously 2022. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Hi, I'm Katie, Operation Manager here at Old School Barbecue. We're excited about all of the changes here at Old School, and we'd like to invite everyone to come out and enjoy some delicious barbecue at Old School prices. We feature brisket, chicken, ribs, sausage, and the Boss Hog pulled pork sandwich, voted best deal in town. We also have live music Friday and Saturday from 7 to 10 p.m. 10655 Coursey Boulevard. We can't wait to see you.
Don't miss it. Vallelo's inventory reduction sale and clearance on furniture and bedding going on now. New collections arriving daily. Huge savings plus 12 months interest-free. Limited time only at Vallelo's, New Roads and Port Allen. Just minutes from downtown Baton Rouge.
All right, this is Richard Covington and his unique dancers, and he's been part of our parade for many, many years now. And every year they come with different costumes and different dance routines. And so we look forward to seeing Richard and his dancers every year, and they're dressed up in the Mardi Gras colors this year, the purple, gold, and green.
I don't think there's anything that is more synonymous with Mardi Gras in South Louisiana than dancing.
Exactly. You know, and it takes a whole lot of things to make the parade, a whole lot of things. You know, so these dance groups really add to it, along with all the bands, and, you know, we saw the ROTC and float trucks and family trucks and decorated trucks. This is Joe Fobb, crew of Fobb, walk down memory lane. And Joe always has a crew with him. He always has a crew with him. And they got their 100 hats on and all that. Woo! Cody. Yeah, so they did definitely a good walk down memory lane.
And I guess it's only appropriate that when you're celebrating 100 years, you take into account all the memories and the things that have happened in the prior 99 years.
Yes, and that's what our theme was depicting this year. You know, things that you celebrated in that 100-year span. So there are a lot of things people have celebrated: birthdays, family reunions, Mardi Gras, Super Bowl parties, the Saints winning, you know, all that kind of good stuff. And we're going to get some more of our names of our parade attendees. This is the Take a Shot crew. And so we see we got a lot of children on this float. And they're giving out hula hoops. And, you know, that's the beauty about these family floats, because they're built high and you can get a whole lot of people on there and keep track of the kids. They're not in the streets. They're enjoying themselves with their families. This is a crew of bosses, and this float has really got the young people moving.
We back. Just for a second. Shake back. They was mad, CJ. Ain't no remix. What up?
This is the crew of Honore, and so probably members of the Honore families.
And of course, that's one of those names that in South Louisiana, we're probably the only ones that can figure out that that's Honore, in it with an A and not an E.
Yeah. Yeah, so they're advertising their drywall business. And while we're waiting for some other things to come up, we'll give you a little bit more information about our court from Saturday and our court that's reigning today. We have Miss Tori Saison. She's a 23-year-old daughter of Mr. and Mrs. James Saison of New Road. She's a 2017 graduate of Livonia High School, completed Delta College. She's an LPN, and she's one of the great-granddaughters of Jimmy Boudreaux. We have Jamaria Mache Washington. She's 21, native of Irwinville, and she is the daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Clyde Edwards. And Jamaria is the granddaughter of Miss Gert, who a lot of people around here get their hair done. And so we see another group that's celebrating the 100 years, Crew of Love, and we see the different streets that have been part of the Mardi Gras that Jimmy Boudreaux and the Carnival Club and the Lions Club have used. St. Mary's Street, Parent Street, Partridge Street, New Road Street, and also Rosenwald High School, which is now an elementary school, which is our starting point.
So what was it about all of this that led you to become so steeped and knowledgeable about the history, Cassandra?
Because my mother, this was her grandfather, and so she knew him, and she told us many stories about him and his parades, and after he passed on, my father made a conscious effort to keep us involved in Mardi Gras, no matter what school we were at, whether we were attending the Catholic school or the public high school. He wanted us involved, and because he felt that this was part of our family legacy, and he wanted that legacy to continue. So this is what has kept us grounded and keeping his vision alive, and to keep, this is the biggest attraction for the city of New Roads. This attracts more people than anything else. So we see we have another band, and they're dancing dolls, and these young ladies are aspiring to be Southern University dancing dolls at some point. And our final lady on the court, our raw court, is Miss Caitlin Wren. She's a 24-year-old daughter of Miss Elise Ruth and Mr. Charles Wren. She's a graduate of Livonia High School and has a doctorate degree from Xavier University College of Pharmacy. And she is now known as Dr. Wren. And happy Mardi Gras to all of y'all. This is from Sheriff Renee Thibodeau as his group. And our queen this year is Paris Rodney. Miss Paris Rodney is a 26-year-old daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Raymond Rodney. She's a graduate of Madison Preparatory School. She completed her schooling in cosmetology from Remington College, and she has opened up her own salon.
Nice.
And as we said earlier, our king is Mr. Cleotha Jonigan Jr. He's the son of the late Cleotha Jonigan Sr. and the late Diane Vining. He's married to Mrs. Latasha Lewis Jonigan, and they are the parents of Cleotha III, Cornelius, Bryce, Bria, Cameron, Christian, Brennan, and Brianna.
All right, we're getting the signal from the truck. We're going to take another short break. We'll get this out of the way, and we will roll on with more of Pelican Broadcasting's 2022 parade coverage of Mardi Gras in New Roads. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Don't miss it. Vallelo's inventory reduction sale and clearance on furniture and bedding going on now. New collections arriving daily. Huge savings plus 12 months interest-free. Limited time only at Vallelo's, New Roads, and Port Allen. Just minutes from downtown Baton Rouge.
You can't smell it, but you can almost taste it. And whether it's for a family get-together or a game day feast, having Manda in the mix always sounds good. For 3 generations, their quality meats and original seasonings have made Manda a Louisiana legend and made their family sausage Louisiana's family sausage. Manda Fine Meats, the flavor says it all.
Hi, I'm Katie, Operation Manager here at Old School Barbecue. We're excited about all of the changes here at Old School, and we'd like to invite everyone to come out and enjoy some delicious barbecue at Old School prices. We feature brisket, chicken, ribs, sausage, and the Boss Hog pulled pork sandwich voted best deal in town. We also have live music Friday and Saturday from 7 to 10 p.m. 10655 Coursey Boulevard. We can't wait to see you.
Welcome back to Pelican Broadcasting's 2022 parade coverage from the prettiest city on the river. It's Mardi Gras in New Roads, Louisiana. Clarence Bugs along with Cassandra Weir, and yours truly will be here for the duration. And as we continue, a brief respite, as you guys and girls well know, during the parade sometimes there's an ebb and flow to it, and we've now gotten past the latest ebb, and we're back into the flow of things.
And we know that this year the crowd has probably been bigger than any crowd we have ever seen in the 100th years that we have celebrated Mardi Gras in this area.
Well, I guess what it is we're just kind of making up for last year, and folks are just trying to get as much fun as they can at one time.
I agree. As you know, tomorrow is Ash Wednesday, and we're going to all be quiet. And so they're celebrating Mardi Gras, the 100 years of Mardi Gras with the beautiful face mask. And they even have a dog on the float. This is one of the few times when we've had a dog in the parade. He or she is decked out with a bow. They even have bubbles coming toward us today. Yeah, people are just so happy to be here today. This is the Bayou Crew. The Bayou Crew. Wow, look at the beautiful bubbles, Clarence. This is Les Bon Temps Roulés. This is the crew of Perkins. And this is a family that's been in our parade for a number of years. One of the matriarchs in the parade, Estelle Perkins, used to be one of our members, and she passed a good way on. And I see the person leading the parade is Miss Alacia Toussaint, who's one of my former students and parent of some of the children that I've worked with. And her nephew, Leroy, sings and dances and works for the city. And there's Miss Anita Armstrong, who's been one of our
Hey, I just want to let y'all know, ain't no crew like that Perkins crew. The crew of Perkins, we come through every single year.
Oh, they gave you a St. Steve.
Let's go.
That's right, throw me something. And we see they got jazz band decor on their float. This parade will be one for the record books. This is the Bayou Black Party Bus. And we see it has this fleur-de-lis on it and Saints memorabilia and things of that nature. So people ride the Bayou Black Party Bus and have a great time.
Now, if you ever had your choice on how to take in a Mardi Gras parade, that would get my vote, being on the party bus.
Being on the party bus. Yeah, because you could be inside dancing, they wouldn't even see you.
It's almost
It's almost hard to tell who's having the most fun.
Right.
People in the crowd or the people on the float.
Yeah, it's a 50-50 split on that. Yeah. Trina Designs, and so, I mean, everybody's having a great time, whether you riding a float, whether you watching a parade. Everybody's having fun.
You know, you look at the diversity of the crowd, the number of children, the number of elderly. It's real easy to see how this particular Mardi Gras parade has managed, after all these years, to be the second oldest parade in the entire state of Louisiana.
Yes, and it's groups like this who've come from around outside of Pointe Coupee Parish, because this is Idea Public School, and with all these other groups that come from surrounding towns in the city of Baton Rouge, that helps to make this Mardi Gras, keep it active, keep it going. So we're grateful for all the people who have contributed to us in any way. And I mean, these Mardi Gras, these people are having a great time today.
I get the sneaking suspicion that the business community is going to be really, really happy at the end of this day, Cassandra.
Yes, a lot of food was bought, a lot of beverages and other Mardi Gras paraphernalia. And we have our officers this year. Our president is Ms. Leandra Porsche, and our vice president is Mr. Wilma Moore. And we have many other officers who have been working diligently behind the scenes to make sure that we are looking good, that everybody's ready for Mardi Gras, that we have all our entries, our judges, our parade judges this year are Mr. Jerome Boyd, Mr. Jonathan Duval, and Mr. Kirby Gordon Jr. And so they have the task of judging all the entries, the competitive floats and dance bands, the bands, I think, to give out the pros. So they have the hardest jobs today to make the decision on that.
Did you anticipate staying involved this long to the degree that you are involved when you first started?
Actually, I didn't, I guess, but it just kind of grew. And, sometimes when you become a part of something, it's very difficult to give it up. Every now and then, we might take a hiatus because, there have been times when I've only worked with the cable broadcast and a couple other things.
Right.
But throughout the years, I've worked in many capacities, from the selection of the queen in her court to costumes to the president, the secretary. And currently my role has been, for the last 20 plus years, I'm the historian for the club. So they count on me to be able to tell our history and to keep it unfolding.
And I guess it's like so many other things in South Louisiana. Once it gets in your blood, there's no getting it out of your system.
Exactly. Definitely, it's no way of getting it out of your system. Definitely no way to get it out of your system.
Box.
Dee Dee's Blues Box. Yeah, you're right, Clarence. I don't know who's having more fun, the parade riders or the people in the crowd. I think it's a split down the middle on that. This is the crew of Cherished Memories. And we see people that sometimes they're remembering those who have gone on, who were probably here 2 years ago for Mardi Gras, who are no longer here. And so a lot of times people do floats in their honor and in their memory. So I think we still have a lot more to see, because I think the thickness of the crowd, people are so excited for all the throws and all the dance music and everything, that they're really trying to make sure they get everything in. These are the Black Diamond Riders. Not bored. You know, they're having fun, so they're going to have fun all day. And then most of the schools are closed tomorrow, so that, you know, they can.
Now we have
they can
McKinley
rest.
Senior High School's Panther Marching Band coming up next.
Yeah. And they're the beautiful dancing dolls. And my dad is a graduate of McKinley High School, so that school is very dear to our heart. When black students were not able to get a public education in Pointe, Coupee, they went to Baton Rouge to McKinley High, one of the first black high schools in the state of Louisiana. And they look great with their plumes and their capes and their dolls. And that's a lot of things. People don't see the amount of time and practice that has to go into this, because these are high school students, and probably some might be junior high, and they have to stay after school for band practice and on weekends, and then the parents are, you know, taking them to different events. So that's some of the stuff that, you know, people will see the finished product, but they didn't see how much work it took to get these children to do all of this. Now, some of the things you see this morning, you'll probably see this afternoon in the Lions Club parade, because there will be participants that are participating in both parades, so that our celebration of 100 years has really blown. It has really blown up well. Long live the legend. This is the Erotic Parties crew. Wow. And we see dancing on the streets as well as on the floats. I guess the 2-year lockup, when people couldn't dance in the streets like we did 2 years ago, now they're really getting their dance on.
If ever you want to see exactly what something means to a community, take it away for a year and watch what it's like when it comes back.
Precisely. And so we're grateful for all of our sheriff's posses that have come through, and all of the police officers and sheriff's departments that sent personnel to aid us today, and Sheriff Thibodeau and Mayor Kevin McDonald have really kept us real and good thing. Happy Mardi Gras to everybody.
I was speaking with the sheriff before the parade got underway, and he told me the estimate is anywhere from 15 to 30 law enforcement agencies outside of the city of New Roads are helping to provide security so we can all have a wonderful Mardi Gras. That says a lot about that.
It does, you know, because we know that some of our neighboring towns had Mardi Gras over the weekend, like Livonia,
Right.
Port Allen, Plaquemine, and so they send their officers here, and our officers have gone to other Mardi Gras too. Vonta Roulette, the crew of Watson Way. Everybody's into the 2022 Mardi Gras. This is a dedication float to Lyric Danae Gremillon, and her family is on the float in her, to her in a tribute to her memory is known as the TikTok Queen. The Baton Rouge Express.
Baton Rouge Express.
We've heard some Zydeco music, blues music, hip-hop music, New Orleans bounce music. Okay, this is the crew of family and friends, and you know, we've seen many, many families and friends today, but this particular crew, this is their name, and they're celebrating Zydeco on the Bayou. And you know, we love our Zydeco music.
That is as South Louisiana as you can get when you're talking Mardi Gras, Zydeco, and a Bayou. It doesn't get any more Louisiana than that, Cassandra.
No, it doesn't. That's the good thing about Louisiana. We have so many genres of music here that is something for everybody. And so today's parade has showcased that, where you had music for everybody, so everybody got a chance to enjoy things. This is the crew of Dixon, and this is the family that has the Centennial Citizen, Mr. Leon Dixon, and he's 103 years old, and these are his grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and as you can see, there's his picture on the side. This is the crew of Enchantment, and they are definitely celebrating Mardi Gras. We've seen so many Mardi Gras, so much Mardi Gras paraphernalia this year.
And you know, it's been my experience, and I don't know how typical it is, but normally at a parade like this, if you see someone that doesn't have any beads, people will take some of theirs off and give to them to share the Mardi Gras spirit with them.
They do. This is the crew of 1218, and this is one of my former students, Jarlacia Odom, who was the chairperson for this float. You see a beautiful young lady in her leopard print. So these are some gorgeous dancers. You know, they have on their leopard print, which is one of my favorite prints. And this is absolutely beautiful. And you know, we really appreciate the people that take the time to work with these young ladies and young men, because sometimes we'll have some male dancers too,
right,
like we saw earlier with Richard Covington, who take the time out to get the costumes ready, to practice the young ladies, to get the dance routines together. And you know, these young people have a great time coming through these parades. They really look forward to this.
And when you consider all the things that young people have that they could be involved in, many of those things not positive, not family oriented, you got to tip your hat to the sponsors and these young people in particular for sticking with it and being a part of something like this.
Yes, and that they should really be commended for that, because you know, a lot of times, as we say, they can go astray in other directions, but people are taking their time to mentor them, and so that's the great part about this. And so we hear, now this is the Florida Street, Sam Earn and the Florida Street Band, and some of our past kings and queens were supposed to have been on this float. And there is Miss Judy Malloy Bazile. She's one of our past queens, and she was the queen in 1986, and her king, Anthony Daisy, is working with the lineup this morning.
I got to imagine as well that there are probably people here today that are celebrating friendships that they've made with people that until they met them at the New Roads parades, they were complete strangers. And all these many years, that friendship still continues.
Yeah. I mean, we've had so much music here today and dance.
How y'all doing up there? Y'all doing all right, y'all?
All right, the DJs.
Happy Mardi Gras 2022, y'all.
The DJs from all these floats are keeping it moving. Do what you wanna. Now, the Do What You Wanna Mardi Gras song, that is my favorite Mardi Gras song of any song. I've been waiting to see the Rebirth Brass Band in person because there are a few other
That's
things.
the brass
that
band right behind us. I kept looking for a marching band, but it's the brass band behind us.
Now, that is definitely a tribute to Jimmy Boudreaux because that's what he had. He had a brass band. One of the men who played the trumpet in the parade was a man named Alvin Paul, and he taught me when I was a student at Rosenwald in elementary school, and he was one of the men that played in the parade for decades. And then later on, he would train Boy Scouts and Cub Scouts to do drills. So this is definitely a legacy to Jimmy Boudreaux because this is what he would have, a brass band.
You talk about Do What You Wanna being your favorite Mardi Gras song. Well, the band right before them played another what may be the theme for today, No, It Ain't My Fault. So if you get caught doing what you wanna and it ain't the right thing, just tell them, no, it ain't my fault.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, so, we see all these tributes, and it just goes to show you a man just started out with a mule-drawn float and a brass band or some type of a band, and look what his legacy has blown up to. Because back then it would have just been people in the town, in the neighborhoods or whatever that the parade marched through.
Right.
And now people are coming from all over to come here to be a part of this tradition.
And Cassandra, for me, this is yet another classic example of why I love my country so much, because in a little town like New Roads, one person whose heart is in the right place, one person who wants to make a difference and bring a community together can start something that is still going strong, getting bigger and better after 100 years. That says something about us as far as who we are as a people and a nation.
It does. And we kept, we weren't certain if we would have Mardi Gras this year because we needed to see what the state was going to do about the COVID.
Right.
And probably we watched the city of New Orleans more than anything to see what Mayor Cantrell was going to do. So Mayor Dukes gave the okay a couple months ago that it was okay for us to have Mardi Gras. So in probably less than 2 months, we pulled all this together. And, by having our Grand Marshal this year, Greg Merriweather from Channel 9, people were able to see the news people in person for a change.
Right.
And so they did a lot of advertising for us, and so encouraging people to come here and, so word of mouth and Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and all these things, people were letting their relatives know, well, we're going to New Roads, and so other people have come in.
And, over the years, that's been one of the hallmarks of Channel 9. The studio might be in Baton Rouge, but never once can I remember they did not send someone to New Roads to cover the parades. And they love this city as much as anybody else in South Louisiana. And it's really good, like you said, to let people have the opportunity to just walk up to a guy and shake his hand and say, hi, man, I watch you every night. Love what you do. But that means a lot to people.
It does. And so we got Greg out of his suit and tie today.
Right.
And we got him in a carriage with
Right.
his 3-year-old son Jack. So I hope poor Jack, I hope he's had a good time, because by now they've made it on the other side of town, and so the parade is continuing because we have another float behind us. As a matter of fact, there are at least 2 floats that are on their way down Main Street. And we're looking at the people dressed up on the floats, but if you look throughout the crowd, you see a lot of Mardi Gras things too in the crowd, the way people are dressed. The hairstyles, the jackets, the hair colors, the shoes, and other things, people so that way we know we're all a part of this. And this is also a tribute to Soul Train. They're celebrating love, peace, and soul as the slogan of Don Cornelius. This is Miss Chanel. Hello, Bianca. This is Miss Chanel Bradley Smith and her family, and we can see the afros and the music notes.
I guess Don Cornelius is staring down with a big old grin on his face. Who would have ever thought that all these many years later in New Roads, Louisiana, you'd see Don Cornelius' picture on a Mardi Gras float, of all places.
And boy, that was the thing on Saturday afternoon. We couldn't wait for 1 o'clock to get here to watch
That's
Soul
right.
Train.
That's right.
No matter if it was a rerun or not, we were too excited to watch Soul Train. And that most of us from our age grew up on Soul Train, and where we got to see some of our favorite artists.
And you better not miss it, because then you were going to have to explain to all of your friends where you were, what you were doing,
Exactly.
and why you don't know who was on the latest edition of Soul Train.
Exactly. And then, you go to many family reunions and weddings now in the African-American community, and you will see a Soul Train line.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yet another one of those things that one person started, and 100 years later, it's still going strong.
It's still going strong. Yes, and, we're still rolling. We have really rolled this morning, and Jimmy Boudreaux should be smiling down to see all of what he started with his 2-piece parade 100 years ago that has morphed into this, a gigantic celebration. You can tell about the size of the crowds by the throws. If the throws have run out by now, then we know that we have huge crowds, and they're thick in every direction. This is Club Crew of 91, and this is one of our newest members. That's Chris and it's the John Christoph. And this is Mr. Robert Smith and his lovely wife, Kernesha. And so Mr. Smith did some DJing for us in between the band sets at our ball on Saturday. So I think, Clarence, this has wrapped up our 100th celebration of the Community Center of Pointe Coupee, Mardi Gras, 100 years of celebrating 1922 to 2022, and we have had a fantastic time.
Especially when you take into consideration the small amount of time that you had to prepare, wondering whether COVID was going to force another cancellation, and it looks as though every single member of the Carnival Club, of the business community, of the mayor's office, the council, everyone did a fantastic job under a very limited amount of time to put this thing together and give the people of South Louisiana what they desperately need.
Yes, and they're going to be talking about this for a long time. So it is definitely one for the record books, and we thank all of our sponsors. who sponsored our parade today and who sponsored our broadcast for our parade. And we want everybody to be safe, have fun, and come back to New Roads next year for our next celebration.